Welcome to another episode of Codo Cinema, the podcast show where I talk about movies. I'm your host, Mark Codo, aka Codoman. Well, folks, we are at the end of season 7 of Codo Cinema. That is right, folks. Codo Cinema is coming to an end for its 7th season because we are coming close to the end of the year, which means a new year is coming in pretty soon, which is the year 2026. Oddly enough, 2025 is almost over. I hope everyone had a good Christmas. So, to anyone who is listening, I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas. Plus, Happy New Year as well, as we are about to enter the new year, which is the year 2026. And of course, Codo Cinema Christmas Month is also ending as well for the year. So, anyway, what better way to close out the year by talking about a movie? Although this movie, although this movie that I'm going to talk about, while yes, it is a horror film, but it's also part Christmas, part New Year's. Although mostly New Year's because there is very little Christmas in this movie. And of course, this movie that I'm going to talk about is Ghostbusters 2. Now, to anybody who's listening, Total Man, Ghostbusters 2 is not a Christmas movie. It's a New Year's movie. And yes, that is absolutely true, but I thought it would be a good way to, talk about it too, because in hindsight, part of this movie is part Christmas and part New Year's. And there's very little mention of Christmas throughout Ghostbusters 2, but more about New Year's, right? Although, to be fair, it does take place around the holiday seasons. So, technically, it counts in my book as a Christmas movie, but also a New Year's movie. So, hey, might as well talk about it. So anyway, just to back this up, while Ghostbusters 2 is widely considered a holiday season movie, it's not strictly a Christmas film, as its story spans from late November, December through New Year's Eve, culminating in the final battle as the clock strikes midnight, involving all delaying scene and themes of renewed goodwill, making it perfect for the December holiday period. So technically, it kind of counts as a Christmas movie in my book, even though, yeah, it's not much of a Christmas movie. I mean, hey, if Die Hard could be a Christmas movie, so can Ghostbusters 2. If Gremlins can be a Christmas movie, so can Ghostbusters 2. While it features some brief festive elements like Santa hats, its core plot and climax are New Year's Eve focused, fitting the broader holiday season narrative alongside classics like Die Hard. Yeah, Die Hard's a Christmas movie as well. So anyway, just to move forward with my brief background. Now, of course, we will also break down this movie. Plus, I'm also going to give him my overall thoughts on this movie too, because Ghostbusters 2. Let's be honest. Ghostbusters 2 is a good sequel, but not as good as the first movie, to be quite honest. So anyway, Ghostbusters 2 is a 1989 American supernatural comedy film directed by Ivan Reitman and written by Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis. The film stars Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Sigourney Weaver, Harold Ramis, Rick Moranis, Ernie Hudson, and Annie Potts, and is the sequel to the 1984 film Ghostbusters and the second film in the Ghostbusters franchise. Set 5 years after the events of the first film, the Ghostbusters have been sued and put out of business after the destruction caused during the during their battle with the deity Gozer the Gozerian. When a new paranormal threat emerges, the Ghostbusters reunite to combat it and save the world. Okay, and as I mentioned, Ivan Reitman is the director, and of course, as I mentioned, Ivan Reitman is the director with Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd, who also co-star in this movie, are the writers for the script, and of course, came up with the characters as well. Plus, Ivan Reitman was also the producer, and of course, you have Bill Murray, Sigourney Weaver, Rick Moranis, Ernie Hudson, and Andy Potts. Alongside Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis, Michael Chapman was the cinematographer on this movie, And then you got Don Camberg and Sheldon Kahn editing the movie, with Randy Edelman doing the music, and it was distributed by Columbia Pictures. The film came out on June 16th of 1989, and the film had a budget of 30 to 40 million dollars, and it grossed 215.4 million dollars. So this sequel came out about 5 years after the first movie. Now, Columbia Pictures wanted a sequel but struggled to overcome objections from the cast and crew. As with the first film, Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis collaborated on the script, which went through many variations. The pair wanted to convey a message about the consequences of negative human emotions in large cities. They settle on the idea of negative feelings creating a mass of supernatural slime beneath New York City that empowers benevolent spirits. And of course, as I mentioned, the budget was 30 to 40 million dollars. And of course, filming took place between November of 1988 and March of 1989 in New York City and Los Angeles. Production was rushed, and large sections of the film were scrapped after poorly received test screenings. New scenes were written and filmed during reshoots between March and April of 1989, only 2 months before its release. Ghostbusters II was released on June 16th of 1989 to generally negative reviews. Critics responded unfavorably to what they perceived as largely a copy of the original and a softening of its cynical, dark humor to be more family friendly. Although the performances of Peter McNichol and Rick Moranis were repeatedly singled out for praise. And of course, as the sequel to the then highest grossing comedy film of all time, Ghostbusters 2 was expected to dominate the box office. Instead, the film earned 215.4 million dollars during its theatrical run compared with the original's 282.2 million dollars, making it the eighth highest grossing film of that year. Columbia Pictures deemed it as a failure, effectively dissuading Bill Murray from participating in a third Ghostbusters film. Its soundtrack single, On Our Own by Bobby Brown, was a success, spending 20 weeks on the US music charts. So, yeah, when it first came out, this movie wasn't that great, but I believe over time the movie has gotten better. I mean, sure, as I mentioned, this movie is not going to top the original Ghostbusters. I mean, not a chance. But at the same time, this movie, I enjoyed this movie for what it is. I mean, sure, it's not perfect, but it's still a fun movie. But I do agree that there were definitely a lot of problems going on in this movie. I mean, sure, reviews of, like, you got a 55% on Rotten Tomatoes, and then of course Metacritic gave it a score of 56 out of 100. And then, of course, in 2009, Den of Geek listed it as the 18th best blockbuster sequel of all time. And then IMDb gave it a 6.6 out of 10. So, to be quite honest, it's not a it's not a bad sequel. It's just that this movie didn't reach the expectations of what the first film had, to be quite honest. I mean, there are plenty of movie sequels where it overtakes the original. Like, for example, Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, for example. And then, of course, you got Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan as well. Those are just a couple examples. But of course, this movie did fall victim into, like, sequels where they decided to go the family friendly route rather than being more like what the first film had. Because let's be honest, the first film did have adult jokes and references to it. And of course, in the first movie, the guys were also smoking cigarettes, right? I mean, sure, yeah. I mean, it's not a kids' movie, to be honest. Like, let's be fair. Ghostbusters was never meant to be a kids' movie. I mean, sure, everybody's gonna have fun watching Ghostbusters. I mean, sure. I mean, families can enjoy Ghostbusters, but yeah, you gotta find a balance between family entertainment and, of course, entertainment for the adults. As long as you don't stray too far away, not being too adult oriented. I mean, the first Ghostbusters movie wasn't really too adult oriented. Most of the adult stuff was most of the adult stuff was was pretty hidden. I mean, both Ghostbusters 1 and 2 are rated PG, just to throw that out there. I mean, everybody's going to see it, right? This is what happened with the sequel. The sequel went into family friendly territory a little more. In fact, I talked about the Santa Claus 2 already on my podcast, where it was more family friendly compared to what the first Santa Claus film had. In fact, about a year after Ghostbusters 2 came out, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles also came out too. Like, they came out with the first one in 1990, and then I believe 1991 was when the second movie came out, and the second one was a little more family friendly and safe, right? And I think that's the word I was looking for. Some sequels try to be too safe rather than go the distance, so to say. Like I said, Ghostbusters 2 won't top the original. I'm just gonna say it. But of course, just to throw this in there, we did get Ghostbusters 2016 with Melissa McCarthy and directed by Paul Feig, or is it Paul Feig or Paul Feig? I don't know. Is it Paul Feige or Paul Feige? If I'm saying his name right, but anyway, the 2016 film. I'll be honest, I actually saw that movie in theaters back in 2016, and I thought it was okay, but looking back at it, I'm just like, holy smokes, that was not a great movie. I mean, it does have its fun moments, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, that movie was not great at all. That movie alone, the 2016 Ghostbusters, it makes Ghostbusters 2 look like a decent movie, you know? It's like, sure, it's not perfect, but at the same time, when you have like a reboot that kind of like, when you have a reboot movie, because 2016 Ghostbusters movie is technically a reboot, and when you have a reboot movie that dishonors what came before, you did something wrong. And look, having an all-female Ghostbusters is not the problem. I mean, I'd be open for a female Ghostbusters movie if done right. But the problem with that movie is that it had a bad story, and of course, dishonors what came before, right? And in order to do that, you gotta respect what came before. And if you want to do something new with it, that's fine. You gotta remember to respect what came before. And that's not what this 2016 film did, all right? I'm just gonna say this right now. I do not have a problem with female Ghostbusters. All right? The problem that I have with that movie is that the story was bad. All right? It's been a while since I saw that movie, and come to think of it, I don't know why they remade that movie, but well, they're probably just, cash grab, if you know what I'm saying, right? That film bombed at the box office, by the way, the 2016 film. But of course, we did get two other Ghostbusters movies, Ghostbusters Afterlife and Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, to which I also reviewed Ghostbusters Frozen Empire last year during Codo Cinema Horror Month. But anyway, let's move forward. I'm actually happy that the new Ghostbusters movies, the one that came out in 2021, 2024, I'm actually glad those movies are there because it at least try to, at least try to stay connected to the original two Ghostbusters movie while retconning the 2016 Ghostbusters movie. Hell, the first trailer for Ghostbusters Afterlife um, completely retcons the 2016 movie, where I believe it's Paul Rudd's character, where he says there hasn't been a ghost sighting in 30 years, right? Like, boom, there you go. That's the retcon for that. Or erasing, or or should I say that's the 2016 film being erased, so to say, from canon. You know what I'm saying, right? But anyway, let's get to the breakdown of this movie, shall we? But anyway, with New Year's on the rise, let's break down this movie, shall we? So the movie opens up 5 years after saving New York City from destruction by the shape-shifting god Gozer the Gozerian. The Ghostbusters have been sued for property damage, incurred and barred from investigating the supernatural, forcing them out of business. Ray Stantz now owns an occult bookstore and works as a side job alongside Winston Zeddemore as unpopular children's entertainers, which is basically birthday parties. By the way, Ray Stantz and Winston Zeddemore, they're both played by Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson, and I'm not kidding. This movie opens up with those two at a birthday party, trying to entertain the young kids, right? And funny enough, one of the kids is Ivan Reitman's son, Jason Reitman, who will later go on to direct Ghostbusters Afterlife, and then of course, of course, collaborate with Gil Kennan on the sequel, Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. But oh man, let's be honest. Like the kids, like I mean, oh my goodness, where do I even begin with this movie? Like everybody hates the Ghostbusters after they saved the city, right? Like everybody in the city of New York hates the Ghostbusters now because because of the amount of damage, because of the amount of damage that they caused. FYI, they rescued the city from total supernatural destruction from Gozer and of course the Stay Puffed Marshmallow Man, mind you. So it completely, it doesn't make sense. Although to be fair, I mean everybody being angry at property damage. Yeah, yeah, I'd be mad with property damage. But hey, it could have been worse. The entire everybody would have been dead, right? I mean, the Ghostbusters saved. The Ghostbusters really saved you guys. I mean, why be angry at them? I don't understand that. But the kid, which is Jason Reitman's character, tells the Ghostbusters, "My dad said your guys are full of crap," and the Ghostbusters is like, "Whoa, whoa." Yeah, what a way to thank the Ghostbusters for saving the city, right? Am I right about that? What a way to say thank you to the Ghostbusters, saying that the Ghostbusters are full of crap. I mean, come on, man. But of course, all the kids were hoping for He-Man because also back in the day in the 80s, He-Man was also a popular Saturday morning or Saturday after one of those popular Saturday morning cartoons, or one of those popular Saturday morning cartoons, so to say. And of course, Ray and Winston are trying to like play the Ghostbusters song on the radio, and then of course the two sing along to the lyrics, and when they're about to say who you're gonna call, and all the kids are saying He-Man because they were rooting for He-Man. But of course, Ray and Winston were like, "Well, it doesn't look good. Let's grab a drink." Oh man, I feel bad for those two. I mean, it literally sucks that these two are trying their best to entertain, and of course, they're being reminded that these guys are full of crap just for saving the city. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, with that being said, Egon Spangler, being played by Harold Ramis, works in a laboratory experimenting with human emotions, and of course, Peter Venkman, being played by Bill Murray, hosts a television talk show about psychics. So then, throughout the movie, Dana Barrett, who is being played by Sigourney Weaver, is Peter's ex girlfriend and has an infant son named Oscar with her ex husband, and works at an art museum just restoring artwork. By the way, just to throw this out there, Dana's husband left her after I believe that was after she gave birth to Oscar, just to go to Europe, right? I believe that's what went down with that. But we don't see the ex husband throughout this movie. Just to throw this out there. So anyway, Dana works at an art museum restoring artwork. She contacts the Ghostbusters after Oscar's baby stroller rolls seemingly independently into a busy intersection. Also, to throw this out there, the baby stroller being rolled independently. That's the opening of the movie, by the way. That's like the very first scene of the movie, because there was some slime that came onto the sidewalk that literally made the stroller go by itself. Supernatural powers, so to say, right? But anyway, at the museum, a painting of Vigo the Carpathian, who is a 16th century European tyrant and powerful magician, comes to life and enslaves Dana's boss, Janaz Poha. And Janaz is being played by Peter McNichol. And of course, Vigo the Carpathian. There's a double role for this. One of the actors is Wilhelm von Homburg, who some of you may remember. Wilhelm von Homburg for his role in he played the henchman James in the Die Hard movie, and of course, he also had a role in Werner Herzog's Strozek. Like those are a couple of movies those are just a couple of movies that he appeared, but he did appear in a few other movies too. But of course, he Wilhelm von Homburg was the physical appearance for Vigo. Like, he's literally there, but he is dubbed over by Max von Sydow, who you may remember him for playing the priest in the Exorcist movie. So Vigo the Carpathian, there's a double role, one for physical role and one for voice, right? Just to move forward, Vigo orders Janaz to bring him a child to possess. That sounds creepy right there. That sounds real creepy. That sounds creepy. And of course, who is the child that Janaz has to bring? That will obviously be Dana's son, Oscar. So yeah, that's a thing. Yes, that's the whole thing right there. Now of course allowing him to escape the confines of his painting and live again to conquer the world. This is basically Vigo wanting to escape the painting and live again to conquer the world, basically taking over the world. And because of all this, and because of his infatuation with Dana, Janaz chooses Oscar. So yeah, out of all the kids in the world, Vigo the Carpathian decides to choose Oscar, right? To which, FYI, we don't even see Oscar throughout any of the other Ghostbusters movies, and this is the only movie we see Oscar, right? Now, of course, moving forward, the Ghostbusters excavate the intersection where Oscar's stroller stopped and discover a river of slime running through the abandoned beach pneumatic transit system. Ray obtains a sample but is attacked by the slime and accidentally breaks a pipe that falls onto a power line, causing a citywide blackout. The Ghostbusters are arrested and taken to court for the damage and for investigating the supernatural. So technically they broke the law, but at the same time, really? They can't investigate the supernatural? I mean, they're the Ghostbusters, for crying out loud, right? But of course, like I said, all this happened because they saved the city from Gozer's destruction, right? But oddly enough, millions of damage to property, right? I mean, look, I get it. I get it that people are mad because of the property destruction, but at the same time, the Ghostbusters did save the city, right? And the world. But anyway, so anyway, upon presentation as evidence because of the, because of the blasters and of course the slime that is also being used as evidence as well, Sample responds physically to the judge's tirade against the Ghostbusters and then explodes. So, and also to mention too, they think so. So basically, there are a couple of guys out there. The construction workers thought that the Ghostbusters dumped all the slime in. They thought the Ghostbusters dumped all the slime in, but of course, the Ghostbusters tried to object, but the judge wouldn't even give them a chance because it seems as though the judge hates the Ghostbusters at this point. But but anyway, the judge goes on this tirade saying like, you guys are guilty. You guys are guilty. You're gonna spend the rest of your life. You guys are gonna spend the rest of the life in jail, and then of course burned to a stake of some sort. And with that tirade going on, there was a manifestation of the ghost escape of the ghost of. There's a manifestation going on because apparently with the judge's negative tirade, two ghosts who appear to be the Scoleri brothers who the judge sentenced to death, right? They're basically back to life as ghosts. So anyway, the judge like so anyway the judge tries to beg for the Ghostbusters to to help, right? But of course, the Ghostbusters couldn't do it because they can't investigate the supernatural, right? So the judge basically has a change of heart and decides to dismiss the case, and the Ghostbusters are back in action. I do like this quote that that one of them says. Well, it's been a while since we used these blasters. These proton blasters, might as well do a test run on this. And then of course the Ghostbusters captured the Scoleri brothers. So two of them are in the box. We be fast and they be slow. Oh man. I do appreciate some of the quotes, although maybe not I mean, sure, it may not be the exact quote that I'm saying, but to anybody who has seen Ghostbusters 2, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like the Ghostbusters captured the Scoleri brothers, and they were like, two in the box. We be fast and they be slow. So anyway, the Ghostbusters resume their business. So they're back in business. Business is open. There is a montage going on of all the Ghostbusters, chasing after different ghosts. Like we get one who is basically a ghost who is basically a jogger, and the Ghostbusters were able to like suck it up with their proton packs. I do like the moment when they're also wearing their Santa hats too. Like, yeah, we get to see them wearing Santa hats. I mean, hey, like I said, it's technically like I said, it's a Christmas movie in my book, even though it's still a New Year's movie too. And also to move forward, I think there's also a Santa ghost too. I think they did a Santa, and I could be wrong, but I think they did a ghost. I think they did a Santa ghost for that one, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, a Santa ghost. Ho ho ho! Maybe they did. Maybe for the TV show, but I don't know about the movies. But anyway, maybe they did for the TV show. But I mean, it would have been funny. I mean, it would have been funny if you know what I'm saying, right? So anyway, moving forward, one night the slime invades Dana's apartment, attacking her and Oscar. She seeks refuge with Peter, and they rekindle their relationship. There's like a moment where he's sleeping he's sleeping on the couch in his apartment, and he hears Dana and Oscar, and Peter was like, "Oh, what the hell is going on?" Until he realizes that it's Dana and Oscar, right? Because he's kind of knocked out from chasing ghosts, right? It's Peter and Dana. Like they're but Peter is trying to like, but of course it's Peter trying to help Dana and Oscar. This is after the whole bathtub this is after the whole slime bringing the bathtub to life, because apparently Dana was trying to give Oscar a bath, and of course the pink slime came in, and it literally transformed the bathtub into into a total into a bathroom of destruction, right? So anyway, yeah, the two rekindled their relationship, and the Ghostbusters discovered the slime reacts to emotions and suspected it has amassed from the negative emotions of New Yorkers. And determining Vigo and the slime are connected, Egon, Ray, and Winston investigate the river of slime, but they are pulled in. They emerge at the museum and begin fighting each other until Egon realizes the slime's negative energy is influencing them. It's kind of funny too that that the three fell into the slime by accident, and they got out of the sewers, and they're basically arguing with each other, and they're like, what the hell just happened? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Blah 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 blah. Right? That sort of argument. But they do realize that, of course, they came to realize that the slime is connected to the three of them, and that the slime is connected to the three of them, and they're basically, they basically have negative energy influencing them. So the Ghostbusters, so then the three Ghostbusters, interrupt Dana and Peter Venkman's and Peter's, dinner date. And the three Ghostbusters were basically, they were basically, let's just say the people were thinking that the three Ghostbusters were going batshit crazy, but at the same time, they're telling the truth, even though people don't understand it. They think the Ghostbusters are crazy. But anyway, the Ghostbusters tell the mayor of their discoveries, but they are dismissed because the mayor now is the same guy, now is the same mayor from the first movie. And the mayor is basically like, what are you guys talking about? Like, what are you guys talking about? Are you saying that we should act more nice? I mean, to be quite honest, I mean, yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Not everybody's gonna play nice at all. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, people can't act negative all the time, right? It's gonna have consequences. This is why sometimes, like, here's the thing: we all gotta act nice, even if there are times there, even if there are hard times. Like, you gotta let go of your negative emotions. Think positive, right? But of course, the mayor doesn't see that and decides to dismiss the whole thing, right? Anyway, the mayor's assistant, Jack Hardenmeyer, has them committed to a psychiatric hospital to protect the mayor's political interests. And then, of course, funny enough, Bill Murray's brother, Brian Duell Murray, is in this movie too as one of the psychiatric doctors. And of course, a spirit appearing as Janaz, who's basically, Scary Poppins, by the way, kidnaps Oscar, and Dana pursues them into the museum. This is all going on when Rick Moranis is when the characters when Rick Moranis and Amy Potts, um, Louis Tully and Janine Melnitz, like, Louise and Janine are basically a couple in this movie, and they're basically babysitting Oscar, right? They're basically watching over, and of course the two started, falling in love. I completely forgot throughout this episode that these two were starting to become a thing, right? I'll be honest, that the whole relationship between Louise and Melnitz was pretty forgettable in my opinion. Even if it's interesting, it's pretty forgettable. But at the same time, yes, Oscar is kidnapped by Janaz, who's basically Scary Poppins at this point, and Dana pursues them into the museum, which is then covered with impenetrable slime. And while that is going on, the entire city of New York is wreaking chaos, right? Like, all hell has broke loose. There are ghosts coming in. There are basically ghosts everywhere. Like, the slime is possessing is possessing everything. Like, if there is one woman who is wearing this animal fur coat, and the slime brought it to life, and that coat goes after that woman, right? And then of course, and then of course there's also a and then of course on top of that, the there is the Titanic comes the Titanic arrives. Yes, we get a cameo appearance of the Titanic. And what's also funny too is that Cheech Marin makes a cameo appearance as one of the guys at the dock. And he actually delivers this one liner. He says something like, "Well, better late than never." Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, but yeah, they actually yes, the Titanic actually came to New York City, right? Oh my goodness. I mean, pretty weird to see the Titanic, but of course, but of course, it's funny. It's funny at the same time that it arrived at the docks, right? Basically, ghost ship. I mean, yeah, ghost ship. But anyway, let's move forward. But anyway, let's move forward. On New Year's Eve, the slime rises to the streets, causing widespread supernatural chaos. Yeah, that's what as I mentioned. Yeah, and the mayor's like, "What the hell's going on? Everything's going insane right now. There's a lot of ghosts out in the street. Where are the Ghostbusters?" And of course, the mayor discovers Hardmire's actions, that he put the Ghostbusters to to one of those insane asylums, right? Psychiatric insane asylums, or is a psychiatric hospital. I forgot. Was it? What was it? Psychiatric hospital. There we go. The mayor is enraged, and he fires Hardmire, and has the Ghostbusters released. Determining that a positive symbol will rally the citizens and weaken the slime, the Ghostbusters use slime charged with positive emotions to animate and pilot the Statue of Liberty through the streets filled with cheering citizens. And of course, they actually used a song in this movie. What is it? What's the name of the song? Higher. I think it's Higher and Higher, if I'm not mistaken. I think the song is called Higher and Higher, right? Yeah, Higher and Higher. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Higher and Higher, right? That's the name of the song. I mean, that was a pretty. I mean, I'll be honest. What positive songs you can think of to animate the Statue of Liberty, and of course, make a positive move on the slime? Higher and Higher, right? That's a pretty good choice. That's a good choice right there. So anyway, let's move forward. The Statue of Liberty is alive. Well, at least they didn't destroy the Statue of Liberty, right? But yeah, so the Statue of Liberty walks through the streets filled with cheering citizens, and of course, at the museum, the slime barrier partially recedes due to the positive emotions, and of course, the Ghostbusters use the statue's torch to break through the ceiling, stopping Vigo from possessing Oscar, then rappel through the ceiling and neutralize Janaz with positive slime. Vigo takes on a physical form, immobilizes Dana and the Ghostbusters, and recaptures Oscar. And then, of course, the gathered crowds outside begin singing. A chorus of oddlings sing, and their positively weakens Vigo, sending him back to the painting and freeing the Ghostbusters. And of course, Vigo possesses Ray, but the Ghostbusters uses their weapons to free him and defeat Vigo, his painting being replaced by one depicting their likeness surrounding Oscar. And also, Luis is also a Ghostbusters too. Right after he gets a bus ride from Slimer. Yes, Slimer. Their first job that the Ghostbusters has ever done. Like, Slimer was basically their first job, and he's basically their mascot. I thought the mascot was just basically, their regular ghost, right? But no, I guess Slimer's their mascot now, hanging around the firehouse, so to say. So afterwards the city laws the Ghostbusters, and the Statue of Liberty is returned to Liberty Island. I mean, hey, good thing the Statue of Liberty wasn't destroyed. So there you have it. That's my breakdown on Ghostbusters 2. Now, My overall thoughts on this movie. Now, I'll be honest, I enjoyed this movie, but I will say there are problems with this movie. And of course, I will agree, it is a bit of a copycat of the first movie, too. Now, of course, the positives of this movie, oh, the performances of the cast is really good. I enjoyed the performances. I mean, come on, Bill Murray, Harold Ramis, Ernie Hudson, Dan Aykroyd, Sigourney Weaver, Rick Moranis, Annie Potts, they're all good. They all put up a good performance. Even though the double role for Vigo the Carpathian from Max von Sydow and Wilhelm von Homburg, I thought that was pretty good. Vigo the Carpathian was a pretty good threat throughout the movie too. I mean, sure, we don't really see him that much, but his presence throughout the movie is felt, especially with the use of of the pink slime as well. Like it is like you don't really see the villain as much, but you do feel his presence throughout the movie. And that's something that I like. When you see less of the villain, you feel the presence of it. Like that is a nice way to know that, hey, you know, this villain is coming. You don't see it as much, but you do feel its presence. But also to mention too, um, but also to mention too, I mean, the visuals in this movie are really good. The use of the slime is pretty impressive too. In fact, I found out that they created the slime using a vegetable based gel, and there was also food coloring to it as well, including green to match Slimer and blue. So green and blue, and I guess a bit of pink as well. Yeah, pink. I feel like the pink slime was a nice touch to it. Although it's nice that they also used the green slime for Slimer, even though Slimer was not in the movie as much. And him driving the bus, man. Oh, man. Should I even go on with Slimer on the bus? I mean, that part was cringy, but at the same time, I still appreciate the slime that they used. But the river of slime in the Van Horn pneumatic transit station was a miniature model with plexiglass trot 1 feet wide and 10 feet long, and it operated in a gravity pump and was fed from a large tank 15 feet above it. So that's what they use. So that's what they used for the River of Slime. That River of Slime scene for Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, and Ernie Hudson, that scene alone where they fell in, where all three members fell into it, was actually the most difficult effect to achieve. And the actors were filmed falling down from the Van Horn set, which was composite with the miniature river. Hudson's character being dragged away by the slime's current was filmed against a blue screen so he would appear in the river. His motion in the river had to be animated by hand against the river's natural movements. And then the bathtub, I think they did something similar with the bathtub as well, because the bathtub came to life too. And of course, they animated the Statue of Liberty as well. I mean, to be quite honest, Dan Aykroyd liked the idea of taking a static image and making it move, about comparing it with seeing the Eiffel Tower moving or Victoria Falls flowing in reverse, right? That's actually pretty interesting right there. And then, of course, Janaz being possessed by Vigo the Carpathian when he's basically being Scary Poppins. Oh my goodness, that was creepy. That was a creepy scene. But McNichol, who played Janaz, wore drag as the nanny for close ups, and a puppet was used for wide shots. The ghost's extending arm was made from stretchable plastic tubing covered in fabric. And then, of course, the Titanic, the RMS Titanic, was actually one of the first shots Industrial Light and Magic completed. They wanted a powerful image for the scene and considered using the Hindenburg airship complete with flaming passengers and a luggage, a subway train carrying rotting passengers, and a graveyard with exploding headstones. Now, of course, Vigo the Carpathian, his canvas painting, right? The concept for the physical form of the central villain Vigo went through many changes, including a plan to transform him into a large monstrosity. There was difficulty determining how Vigo would interact outside his painting, and Vigo was intended to have a heavier creature makeup, but after Von Homburg was cast, his distinctive look meant the extra makeup was largely unnecessary. So they had to create the illusion of a flat painting, right? So it kind of like replicates, the actor himself. And of course, the actor who played Vigo was wearing full costume and makeup and prosthetics, just to get the painting. So those are some of the visuals that I mentioned throughout this movie. But of course, the story itself, I thought it was fine. Sure, not as great as what the original Ghostbusters had, but I thought it was fine. But anyway, just to continue on, the soundtrack is pretty good. I actually enjoyed the soundtrack. I mean, I forgot the name of the songs, but of course, Higher and Higher was actually a good choice that they used to, was a good choice to use just to add in to the positive energy, right? That is actually really good. I actually enjoyed Higher Higher for the positive effect. But of course, just to move forward, I do like the themes throughout this movie. You got positive versus negative, fatherhood, and and the politics as well. Now, the politics did play a role throughout this movie because throughout this movie, the mayor is focusing on re-election rather than listening to what the Ghostbusters are trying to do, right? Because throughout this movie, the mayor doesn't the mayor thinks that being more positive is a bad thing when in reality being positive is used as a good is should be focused more rather than being negative, right? Sometimes you gotta let go of your image and help the people, right? The Ghostbusters' outspokenness results in them being sentenced to psychiatric institute just to silence them, right? Before they're being freed from the governmental bonds after all the ghosts escape, and then of course the courtroom scene as well, in which the executed Scolari brothers return to wreak havoc as a demonstration of the failure of the legal system, right? The legal system failed because the judge wants to throw these guys away in a cell, right? And then of course the government must again empower the Ghostbusters to deal with the problem, reaffirming the team's personal liberty over government influence, right? And the slime is used as a symbol of pollution, right? And of course, polluting negativity, right? So yeah, that's pretty good right there. And then of course, fatherhood, because Bill Murray is being the father throughout this movie, even though he's technically Dana's ex-boyfriend. But of course, this also shows that Bill Murray's character Peter Venkman is a bit unprepared for responsibility to take care, of a child. So that's basically the driving plot of Ghostbusters 2, where Dana Barrett is trying to protect her son, who is the target of a malevolent force. Instead, it becomes about Peter Venkman and his relationship to the child, both representing a surrogate parent, paternal figure, and lamenting that he is not the child's biological father, right? Which is absolutely true because Peter Venkman is not the biological father, it's the other guy, right? I do like how he does come to the rescue to save, Dana's son, right? And I like that. I thought that was a nice addition to his character. But anyway, just to move forward, like going to the positive side, positive versus negative side. I did mention the negative, some of the negatives already. How all the New Yorkers are being rude to the Ghostbusters, the pollution of the slime having a negative effect, government failing on the Ghostbusters, trying to silence them, but the positive sides of like hope. And of course I do like they used Aldling scene throughout for the rest of the movie just to, overwhelm Vigo the Carpathian. That was a nice touch, right? That was a nice touch right there. But that's enough about that. Let's get to the negatives of this movie. Now, yes, I do agree this is basically a copy, somewhat of a copy and paste of Ghostbusters 1, right? Like, for example, the mayor's assistant is basically Walter Peck, aka Dickless, from from the first movie, right? So the mayor's assistant, who's basically the one of the few assistants to the mayor who's trying to throw the Ghostbusters away, and it's just basically I'm just basically like it's just basically him being the Walter Peck of this movie, right? And Jack Hardmeyer being played by Kurt Fuller, he's basically like the Walter Peck of this movie, trying to throw the Ghostbusters away. And then of course on top of that, and then of course on top of that, and then of course on top of that, yeah, the Statue of Liberty is basically the Statue of Liberty coming to life is basically the recreation of the Stay Puffed Marshmallow Man. And then obviously enough, what else could we have? Oh yeah, one of Dana Barrett's co-workers, who's basically, Janaz being a total creep, much like Louis Tully was in the first movie. So yeah, those are just a few examples, but you kind of get what I'm saying, right? It's basically a copy and paste what the first movie had, right? Instead of like trying to like do something new. Yeah, they did some new objects, but at the same time, it's still like you're still copy and pasting what the first Ghostbusters movie had. And then of course, softening of its cynical dark humor to be more family friendly. Yes, that is absolutely true because the film feels more it feels more safe compared to what the first film had, right? In my opinion, it does have to it does have to do something with the Ghostbusters TV show that came out in the 80s, because around that time, the Ghostbusters animated TV show came out, and that one was aimed more for families, right? Which, to be fair, that's nice. But of course, when you're trying to make a sequel that's trying to that's trying to be like the first movie, you need to ask yourself, are we making this sequel just to appeal to the show or the first movie? And I believe what they actually appealed to more of the show rather than the first movie. And look, I'm not trying to say this as a bad thing, but I'm just saying, like, you should find a better balance, right? Or just don't do what the show did. Just do what you did with the first movie. Maybe kind of tone it down a bit, because if you're gonna make it too family friendly, then you're doing something wrong. I'm just throwing this out there. This because, well, here's the thing. Dana's a mom in this movie, which I know I thought it was fine. I mean, I thought it was fine. I mean, it didn't really bother me, but I will say it did feel more like a family film rather than, having it more it did feel more like a family film. More safe, right? Trying to make this film a lot more safe than it is, right? Yeah, I do agree that there are definitely negative impacts throughout this movie. Yeah, it's just the fact that everybody is rude to the Ghostbusters, which that's something that didn't really sit well with me, because it reminds me of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, where when Harry Potter put his name in the Goblet of Fire, like everybody goes against him, like, because the thing is, Harry Potter Harry Potter in the fourth Harry Potter film, or book, I should say, he's 14 years old, and of course the competition is supposed to be like, what is it, ages 17, 18? I don't remember the age exactly, but it's probably like 17 or 18 years old. Almost everybody is rude to Harry, right? That's what the people of New York are doing to the Ghostbusters, up until the judge up until the judge dismissed the Ghostbusters claim, right? But I understand why they had to put that in there, just to move the plot forward. But at the same time, do they really have to be that rude to the Ghostbusters? And of course, one other thing to mention, the whole I mentioned Slimer already, but Slimer is basically a cameo in this movie. It's like they wanted to make him like what the TV show did, but it didn't really sit what it just he's just pretty forgettable throughout this movie. I mean, he was memorable in the first movie because he was the first job for the Ghostbusters. But when you have him in this movie, he's just hanging around the firehouse. He's not doing it. He's not. I mean, he's barely in this movie. I mean, so is Oscar. Oscar's pretty forgettable, but we still see Oscar throughout the movie, and we don't even see him we don't even see him throughout any of the other sequels too. And then of course, Janine Monáe. I mean, hey, she still answers the call. Ghostbusters, what do you want? I mean, she still answers the call, but that's so good. I mean, at the same time, her dating Lewis, I mean, it was a bit cringy in my point. I mean, did we really need a relationship between Lewis and Janine Melnez? I mean, I remember she was making moves on Egon, but the two never really dated at all throughout the movie. I mean, yeah, yeah, she was making moves, but they never really were a couple, right? They probably added this in just to, like I said, trying to make it more family friendly. But at the same time, I feel like they kind of like stretched the bar a little bit on that. But also Lewis being a Ghostbuster, that sounds like an interesting idea, but I feel like it came a little too late in my personal opinion. Dana should have been a Ghostbusters. I kind of heard. I mean, my friend Christian Taylor, aka DJ Apollo, talked about all the Ghostbusters movies, and he actually mentioned Dana Barrett. Becoming a Ghostbusters too. I wish Dana Barrett was a Ghostbuster. I mean, I wouldn't mind that. I mean, heck, you got Sigourney Weaver who played Ellen Ripley in the Alien movies, and of course, she's in Ghostbusters. I mean, would that be an interesting take? Having Sigourney Weaver play an actual Ghostbuster? That actually would be interesting right there. I mean, I didn't mind Louis Tully, but I feel like him becoming a Ghostbuster towards the end of that movie, it felt pretty forced. I mean, I wish they kind of did. I mean, I don't mind him being a Ghostbuster, but it would be nice for him to at least build up on it. I mean, why couldn't the main Ghostbusters train Lewis to hunt down ghosts, right? They could have done the same thing with Dana too. But yeah, but who knows? Maybe in the future we might see Dana become a Ghostbuster. Anyway, one last thing to mention, there is a subplot that was actually cut, and it's basically Dan Aykroyd's character being possessed by Vigo the Carpathian. Like, he gets possessed at the end of the movie, which is very interesting, but it feels completely out of nowhere, to be quite honest. Like, him being possessed, oh my goodness. I mean, that is interesting right there. I mean, having a subplot like that sounds interesting, but at the same time, it feels quick. And I really wish we could see a little more of that, because in the first Ghostbusters movie, I mean, Dana and Lewis were possessed by these hellhounds, right? Or the gargoyles, I should say. What are they? Hellhounds, gargoyles? I mean, whatever they are. Gozers, gargoyles, or hellhounds, right? Those two possessed Dana and Lewis throughout the first movie, right? Vigo possessing Dan Aykroyd's character, that sounds interesting. But that came out too quick. Like, I really wish they can at least build upon that. I think in the middle of the movie, they were originally going to do that, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, this possession wasn't his first attempt. A deleted scene showed Vigo briefly possessing Ray, making him drive recklessly before snapping out of it, highlighting the danger. So it was hinted, but it was actually in a deleted scene that was actually cut. In fact, before the climax, Vigo possesses Ray to drive the Ecto 1 wildly throughout New York City, a scene later incorporated into a montage. And how it happened? It happened because Vigo, who's a powerful spirit, used the overwhelming negative emotions in New York City, amplified by the river of slime, to gain strength and possess his people. And he focused on Ray, who had touched Vigo's portrait, making him a prime target for possession. Anyway, I really wish that scene was in the movie. That way, it hints that, oh yeah, that way we get a better idea of how he possessed not only objects and supernatural abilities, but also people as well, right? I mean, like I said, is definitely an intimidating, and of course, Vigo being an intimidating threat. He was a pretty good villain. He was a pretty good villain. But I really wish we would have gotten that deleted scene though. While we did get the final battle, but I feel like that came out a little too fast, in my personal opinion. But other than that, that's pretty much about it. That's pretty much it. So there you have. So that's my overall. So that's my overall thoughts on this movie. Oh, and one more thing. If I were to rank this movie, I'm gonna give this movie a 7 out of 10. Sure, it's a lot higher than what many people are going to be thinking about, but at the same time, the movie is watchable. Despite the flaws it has, it still has its good moments. But overall, a watchable movie. But other than that, that's pretty much it for this movie. So yeah. So anyway, yeah. And it's also nice that the Ghostbusters were able to have a Happy New Year as well. They're able to defeat the forces of evil and have a good new year. So anyway, there you have it, folks. That is my take on Ghostbusters 2. Now, to anybody who is listening, what did you guys think of Ghostbusters 2? Did you like this movie? Did you not like this movie? Did you think this movie was okay? Do you think this sequel was overhated? I would love to hear your thoughts. And if I'm missing out on anything for this movie, please let me know in the comments below. But anyway, that is it for this episode, and this concludes Codo Cinema Christmas Month, and of course, Season 7 of Codo Cinema. I'll be honest, I had a fun time doing this season. I mean, I did a lot more compared to last year. I mean, I did a lot more episodes compared to last year, and to anybody who's listening, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you all had a good rest of your year. Hope you all had a good Christmas leading into the new year as well. I mean, I hope everyone is having a good life as well. Hope everyone is staying positive. And on top of that, I'm looking forward to the new year. I hope everyone is looking forward to the new year as well. And of course, being a part of this podcast has been a fun experience overall. I mean, hey, we are moving forward. We are moving forward in life, and I'm super excited for the new year. And I hope you all are excited for the new year as well. So with that being said, Codo Cinema will return in 2026. So anyway, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and thank you all for tuning into Codo Cinema. I'm your host, Mark Codo, aka Codoman. Remember to watch movies, stay positive, and I'll see you all in the new year.